Welcome to Overthinking episode 18, where we take fun, interesting ideas, overanalyze them, and run them to their logical conclusions. All in the name of exploration, education, most importantly, entertainment.
I'm Luke.
And I'm Devin.
And we don't claim to be experts on any of the topics discussed here today. We simply find these ideas interesting and hash them out in real time. Get ready to join us on this fun, exciting, crazy ride to nowhere.
This week, we are sitting in our offices, hundreds of miles away from each other, hosting this podcast via video call, like most other lame podcast interviews that you see, just because, we want to get the experience.
That's kind of sad. But yeah, that is exactly what we're doing today.
Yeah.
And of course, Devin. Oh, whoa, look at that. I was just about to ask you the question. You pulled it into frame. What are you drinking?
Nothing.
Devin, open your mouth. Open.
I don't think we can say it. We're going to get copyright struck.
For saying... No,
Coca-Cola.
Coke. Just cola.
It's
Yep.
the second
classic.
most widely known phrase in the planet. Coca-Cola.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
What's
second
the
to
first?
the word no. No is the most
Seriously?
universe. Yep.
Well, that should have been your secrets uncovered. But... or a
What are
fun
you
fact with
drinking?
Devin.
What
Devin
do
now
you-
has his own podcast, Fun Fact with Devin.
Oh yeah, I do.
drinking...
Are you like promoting me? I thought we usually do plugs at the end.
Oh, I was going to promote you, bro. You
Oh, I
know.
appreciate that.
I am drinking
Louder,
Schrodinger's.
prouder.
I'm drinking Schrodinger's coffee. This is either caffeinated or not caffeinated, and I actually can't tell. So it's actually Schrodinger's placebo coffee because it's still keeping me awake.
I was gonna say we'll find out by the end of the episode which it was.
It's terror. Like the beans are so old, but I ran out of my already made cold brew, so I.
You
I
like freshly grind your own coffee?
Yeah. No, I used to. I don't really anymore because it takes like 20 minutes to make coffee instead of me just pouring cold brew in a cup. Like, it's so
I'm
much
not
easier.
supposed to drink coffee anymore.
I know. I have a little bit.
If you guys ever see me drinking coffee on this podcast, call me out.
Yeah.
I won't stop, but I'll at least know you care.
But Devin, we're
Yes.
serious. We're serious podcasters, right?
Serious.
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 Yes. Call us stars because we are serious.
Serious.
We need to expand our minds. We need to warm them up. We need to start the motor of our minds. And so we need to go into our tool shed. We need to find our special wrench. Yep, special wrench. Yep, break it in half. Ching! Yep, there we go. Thanks, Devin. We're going to use one of the halves to unscrew one of the bolts. Oh, you threw away that other half. Oh, well, we'll get by without it. We're going to open up our secret cubby. And we're going to reach into, and we have a chest in there. We're going to open it up and very gently open it and unlock our secrets uncovered. 10 out of 10 miming.
Thank you. For
If
those
you are-
of you who don't watch this on YouTube, you're missing out.
you're missing out. Overthinking podcast. Just search on YouTube, and you will see Devin's incredible mime skills.
Yes.
That was actually pretty. I was funny because in my mind I had planned for the second half of that wrench, and you threw it away. I'm like, well, we're gonna change up the thing I had in mind.
I mean, if you would have kept going, I would have found it.
you would have found.
Yeah.
But I just love that you decided to throw it away. I'm like, that's wow. Like you're no-buddying me in your mind. Like, how is that possible? You just keep on doing that. But Devin,
Luke.
what's your secrets uncovered for today?
I spent the last week either in Oregon or a mile outside of Kelso, which is already the middle of nowhere, Washington. But, I actually ended up traveling a total of 17 hours drive time this week. Over 860 miles I went total.
Drive slow.
Well, I mean, that's averages to like 52 miles per hour.
Yeah, I was messing.
But I did the math ahead of time, so haha.
Ha.
Because
I
I'm
know
a nerd.
you did have that on deck.
Because I'm a nerd. But it's interesting because I did that because I usually the only thing that's physically keeping me where I'm at right now, at least until summer ends, is a is teaching martial arts at a local dojo, and that dojo was closed this week. This last week, so I was able to just travel, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go see my girlfriend. She's in Oregon. I'm gonna see my grandparents. They're in nowhere, and I ended up going back and forth between them a whole lot. And in my mind, it was just I have this opportunity before things get crazy when the school year starts, so I'm gonna take advantage of that to like have fun. And then at some point, Monday or Tuesday, Luke mentioned to our cohort in our business that we run together, he mentioned to our customers basically that I was on vacation. And Luke, I hadn't thought of it as a vacation until you said that. And it was really weird that like you saying that and me being like, oh yeah, that's what it is, like made a switch in my mind that completely changed the mood that I was in. And it was so fascinating. Like you did that, yeah. And it was just so fascinating, like what words mean to us, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna spend time with my family and my girlfriend. It's gonna be good. I'm on vacation. Totally different mindset.
Right? Well, because when you work for yourself, there's no such thing as a vacation because it all rests on you.
And anytime I'd have any like extra free time that I could use to do something fun, it's usually just used to do more work.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
When I travel, it's you're at your laptop all like.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, my parents were asking me the other day, like, "What are you doing for fun this week?" I'm like, "Devin and I are recording a podcast."
Yeah. Right.
I ended up going out. That's right. I have kind of
to that point for everyone who hasn't heard this story before. When Luke and I had been working on our current projects together for maybe 2 or 3 weeks time.
Okay.
I reached out to Luke. I think it was pretty late one night, and I messaged him and I said, "Hey, do you want to do something for fun?" And his response was like, "Yeah, I mean, we can record a video." And I'm like, "No, Luke, for fun."
And I was
I was thinking we could play some video games.
And we never did because I fell asleep before we could play. Yeah, I mean, you just need to get some good games. I mean, that's basically it. You just need to get good, kid.
I mean, you say some good games, but there's a game that you want to play that I don't want to play, and a game I want to play that you don't want to play, so we're at a deadlock.
Wait, what game do you want to play that I don't want to play?
Let's do Borderlands.
Yeah, I'm down. I told yeah.
Let's do Borderlands.
Yeah, okay.
That's the game. That's what I'm into.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'm a weird gamer. I only do one game at a time for like 6 months, and then I get sick of it and I never touch it again.
Yeah.
I'm on Borderlands 2 right now.
Yep. You ever play Minecraft? I don't know if you'd like it.
I don't think I would.
I like it. It's fun.
Most people do. It's like the most popular game in history.
Because, I mean, the thing is, especially during the shutdown...
Or no, not the most popular. It's made the most money.
It's made the most money, yes.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Which is kind of popular.
Yeah, it's kind of popular. But yeah, it's made the most money of any game ever. But I really like Minecraft because during the shutdown, when like things first shut down, I'm basically like I'm like all of a sudden in a place where I have nothing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of like, well, I guess I can catch up on and have some fun playing video games. I basically played Minecraft for like 8 hours a day at a certain point because there's so much you can do. Is that if you decide like I want to build this thing, you can spend a week straight just building that thing. And time just flies by so fast when you're playing versus any other game that's like stressful or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And you can play exactly how you want to play. If you want to go out and like PvP, you want to like fight things, you can do that.
That makes sense too, because actually one of the shortcomings for me, every video game should be systematized, in that like it doesn't even matter if you're playing against other people. Like there's the limitations of how the game operates that lets you know an optimal strategy.
Yes.
And
right.
To me, it doesn't even matter how good I am at executing that strategy. As soon as I feel fairly confident that I know what that strategy is, I'm bored with the game.
Yep.
So I never get exceptionally good at any games. I get decent, and then I know the strategy, and then I'm bored.
Yeah.
And that's why
I don't like. That's why I typically don't play. I don't say I don't like, but that's why I typically don't play non-PvP games for a long time, other than Minecraft.
Well, it's still true in PvP though.
No, it is, but I'm saying like even with PvP, I do get a sense of like reward from beating the other player, even if I'm just like I know how to do it. I still like I beat you, like
right.
Because you can because even if I'm following optimal strategy, you can still beat me by surprising me. Because
sure. So to that. Like I play on a gaming PC that I built, but I use a controller, which gives me significant
Oh, that's right,
lag,
you do.
slows me down. So I always have the example. What was the game? What was the name of the game? Was Destiny. Destiny
Oh
2.
yeah, Destiny 2. We
I
never
was
played that together.
I was playing Destiny 2 for a while,
Yeah.
and I got to a point where I realized the limitations of what I wasn't able to do in PvP because I'm using a controller. And because of that, I had picked my weapons appropriately.
Yep.
And on any map that we would play, I would know immediately from the map where I needed to go to and how I needed to play.
Yeah.
So that even though I am objectively not a very good player at the game, and I was limited by the technology I had, it was still fairly likely that as long as I stuck to the strategy, I would win. On a team deathmatch or on like a free for all, I would win because I was sticking to the right strategy.
Right.
And sometimes I wouldn't because there's genuinely better players that I was beating on a consistent basis by following my rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you camp in a corner, you can usually kill pretty much any player that comes by.
Sure. So the big concern with that is if you're playing like a first to 20 kills, you can't camp.
Well, of course,
right?
yeah. True.
So literally what I would do with this game particularly, I found it almost didn't matter. Like people could be a Titan, they could be a what are the three tribes?
I played
Anyway,
I tried to play Destiny 2, I never did.
Anyway, so they each get different abilities based on what class they're in, and the abilities do make a big difference in PvP. But it didn't matter what you were. If I just had a shotgun and stuck to tight corridors, I would just run down and back tight corridors, and I would just run the map of where they were tight. And as soon as I saw another player, I slid and shot.
Yep.
So their bullet went over me, and I killed them because a shotgun is a single shot kill if it's close enough to anybody on that game.
Yep.
And so knowing that, I would just run laps doing the same thing, and I'd get 20 kills, knowing that if I ever go into the open, I can't compete because I can't turn fast enough.
Right.
And it's just... And so then, once I figured that out and got fairly proficient at that, then I quit the game. So I was like, there's no point anymore.
Yeah.
And there was a night, and I told people I wasn't very good at the game, but there was a night when I won 3 free-for-alls in a row with doing exactly what I just described.
Yeah.
And one of them, it was first to 20 kills, and the person who was second on the board had 8 kills.
Wow.
And so I just ran the map, and after that I was like, okay, I'm done with this game.
That's interesting.
You quit when you're on top.
See, and that's interesting. I think, and I think that's a difference too, just in our personalities, is that I play Call of Duty, the new Modern Warfare game. That's the primary game I play right now. My brother just upgraded our Minecraft server today, so I'll probably be on there playing around with a new update, with all my families. That sounds weird. It sounds like I have multiple families. In that game, I'm pretty consistently, I'd say 95% of the time I'm on the top of the leaderboard. I would say I'm pretty good. I would say I'm not good enough to go pro. But I'm definitely good enough to usually dominate public matches. But there's always players better than me. And that is something. It's like it's you know what it is? I just realized this. Actually, you're hearing this fresh from my brain. Okay, this is the first time I've realized this. So you know that when it comes to creating habits, the most powerful way to create a habit is have non-consistent rewards system, right? So have positive reinforcement that's non-consistent. And so like slot machines is the easiest way, or social media algorithms use the same system as slot machines do. Is that if you hit once and you keep on missing and missing and missing, you remember the hits, and then you're just waiting for that next hit. So you just keep on going, and the more times that you go, you tell yourself, oh, well, I've gone so many times that of course I'm going to get a hit soon, right? And so every time you do that, so that the way the more that you actually play, the more devoted every single time you pull that lever, right, at a slot machine, you become more motivated to pull it again because you're more convinced that there will be a win sooner, right? So it's the most powerful way of actually developing this. I think it was Skinner, the psychologist who developed that who was like
Probably.
first developed
That would make sense with
I think it was
boxes.
Skinner.
That
Yeah.
would make a lot of sense.
I think it was. Or it was I can't remember if it was Pavlov.
No,
or
it
Skinner.
wouldn't have been Pavlov.
It wouldn't have. Okay.
It would not have been.
But I just realized that when I'm playing, most matches I can play, and I usually have like a video playing on my other screen that I'm semi-watching, and I can usually, it's usually like I'm like, okay, yeah, it's fine. There's contest, there's conflict. I have to try. Obviously, I can't just go on autopilot. I do have to try. I have to like go through I have to be tactical, but I can play. And then once in a while, there's a really good player or a really good team, and then I just have to focus hardcore, and I still lose. And that it's negative reinforcement, right? Or no, tell me, am I mixing up my terms? Because I know there's a very technical. Okay, you don't know this.
Not off the top of my head.
There's a technical difference between positive and negative reinforcement, and it doesn't mean good or bad. Positive means you're giving.
No, negative is the removal of stimuli.
Yeah, exactly. That's thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for. So yeah, so negative is the removal of something. Positive is the giving of something. So positive stimulus can be a bad thing. If you give something bad, so it's positive. What's the word to describe the good versus bad? I forget what it is. But I just realized that it's in a way. There's negative reinforcement of losing. I would say you take away my perceived ability at the game, and to do that because it happens infrequently, it makes me so devoted. So when I'm playing, I'm expecting to be beat next, and so I'm still focusing and still trying because I don't know if the other team's gonna beat me, and most of the time they don't. But if I let down my guard, they're gonna sneak up and they're gonna get me. And of course, and it's the same rationale of the more times I play, and especially with skill-based matchmaking, technically speaking, the more times you play, the better you do, the better of players that the game will pair you up against.
Yep.
So there's actually, there's a little bit of logic behind that, but it's still inconsistent. So I just think that's hilarious. I'm just realizing that right now, that it's literally, it's infrequent stimulus, infrequent negative reinforcement. That's fantastic. Wow. That's so
do you have a secrets uncovered?
I do. I'm just really
That was
loud.
a good segue on my part.
Because you call Devin Malkop because he's excellent on segues.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, I do. Have you heard of? Well, you've heard of Deja Vu, obviously.
Yeah,
Deja
once or
Vu.
twice.
It translates to already seen, which means it feels like you have it all. It means that you like relive experiences. That's what it feels like. Have you heard of Deja Rev? Or
Yes.
Reve? Oh, you have.
You've told me about it.
I know we've talked about it. No, sorry. I know I talked to somebody about it. I couldn't remember who. It was. I don't think it was on a podcast though, right?
It was not on a podcast, and I don't remember it, but you've told me about it.
I think I just mentioned it. So Deja, it looks like it's pronounced reve. I don't know. It's a stupid French word. It means already.
Luke calling out an entire nation there.
Listen, I have friends who are French. I can make fun of them. Their language is dumb and stupid.
If you've even ever met a French person, you know you can't make fun of any of them. They are way too proud. You're dead.
Oh no! They speak French in front of me, and I go and I do, and they hate it. But I get it's so funny to me because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like just pretentious gibberish. But I'm outing anyone who speaks French is just mad at me. Hey, send your hate mail to overthinkingpodcast
Well, lucky for you, we only have 2
gmail.com.
listeners, and we do a pretty good job of kicking out the others.
Yes, we do. We're actually really good at it. But anyway, so Deja Reve.
We're proud that we have no listeners.
That's the whole point of this show. It's just for us to talk and have a good time.
Don't
worry about what other people think about us.
We are like someone wants to be a guest on our podcast, and they're like, "How many downloads do you get a month?" You know, I'm really proud to tell you that on a monthly basis we get 8 and no more.
Yep.
Because I listen to every week, and so does Luke.
And I listen every week.
So that's 8 downloads.
Sometimes we forget to listen to our own podcast. So
That's
we have
true,
7.
actually. it's a hard cap at it.
Yeah, it's a hard cap. But Deja Reve means already dreamed. And this is I don't know if it's a subcategory. It's similar to Deja Vu to where you have an experience. And when you're in that moment, or in those moments that you're experiencing, it feels like it feels like an experience you had from a dream. And so this happened. I've had this like my whole life. And when I was little, I thought I was like a prophet. I really thought like I was dreaming of something and I was prophesying the future. Like and of course I was too young and dumb to know anything about how the brain works. But I really believe it. I'm like, this is like kind of scary. I'm like, I dream about this and it happens. And then of course I could prove myself wrong because I couldn't predict what was about to happen next. I could guess, and then sometimes be wrong and sometimes
that might prove yourself wrong. But like, who's to say that prophets have control of the visions they're given?
True.
You just have to have one and then write it down, and it be right years later, and then you're a prophet.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's really, really interesting. There's not a whole lot about it. I did some searching, and Deja Vu just comes up. It doesn't look like a lot of people have studied it. And yeah, it might have to do with like different diseases of the brain, which scared me because I'm like, oh great, another thing to worry about. Like at this point, just get me a brain transplant.
You should see Luke's rap sheet.
At first, I thought you meant the raps that I've written down. I'm like, that has only been one, and there's no way you know about that.
I do now.
And now you do. No! I don't even know where that is, honestly.
Oh, we're going to play that on our next episode. That's a promise to the fans.
I honestly don't know where it is.
You're going to have to find it.
Actually, that's not even true. I know exactly where it is.
There we go.
I don't remember what it is. I don't remember what it is.
Don't even look at it. We're just going to do it live.
No. Oh, I don't like sharing my music. But
promise to the fans.
Which you just established we do not have.
No, there's two of them. You and me.
Promise to you and me.
Yep.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. Mm-hmm. It's just a fascinating thing that if you don't know about, it's like really terrifying. So I mean, same thing with Deja Vu. If you don't know what's going on, and there's a lot of theories to Deja Vu that I've discussed. I might have even talked about it on a podcast before. One theory is that your brain is just messing up its short-term and long-term. So when your brain records a memory, it's in your short-term like circuit, I guess for simplicity, and then after about 30 seconds, it enters your long-term memory, and so. What the theory is that your brain accidentally double records, and while it's going in your short-term memory, it's also being recorded on your long-term memory. So you think you're like, wait, this thing is happening right now that I'm experiencing and I'm thinking of, but I have a memory of it already. And your brain kind of then fights. You're like, wait, which one is real? And you can't really, and you're like, wait, but I'm experiencing this one, so obviously real. But I have a memory of this other thing that happened. I know it's in the past. I don't remember when. I don't remember where, but I know that this thing happened in the past. And that's a theory I kind of believe the most because it makes the most sense when it comes to memory and how it works. And I've forgotten a ton of what I learned about memory because I do not remember all the specific words and phrases and processes.
Sure.
Because I don't do that. But no, that's a cop-out, an excuse. I'm just too lazy to study hard.
I heard the theory, which is interesting because it's really closely related to what you've been talking about, Deja Rev, that... First off, the theory that at every single night we have hundreds to hundreds of thousands of dreams.
Right.
And the dreams that we have are functionally our subconscious mind trying to deal with problems that our conscious mind either can't or won't.
Yeah.
Which is, as a theory of dreams, one that I quite like.
Yeah, me too.
So, but that theory of dreams, when then implicated into what is Deja Vu, the answer has been, well, you've spent every night your entire life going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of possibilities.
Yeah.
So your brain has accurately predicted some things.
Yeah.
So that's where that memory comes from. It's because you've actually experienced that in a dream because that's what your dreams do.
Yep. Exactly.
Which is interesting because I like that in principle, but then in practice it's like every time I experience deja vu, it's really stupid things.
It's really specific. It's like so utterly specific. And
but it's also like specifically minute in my experience.
Well, exactly.
Like, it's not like the kind of thing that I think my brain would be trying to solve.
Right. It's like I've done it. I've had it several times. Like when we're recording, and where I'm like, yeah, I remember me sitting here in this outfit, talking about this certain thing. Devin's making that certain face, talking about this certain subject, and I'm having these certain thoughts going on in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is like, it like just clicks together. And it's the same. And then it goes away after like 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's the point. That's why like I tend to be a little more critical of that. I think it makes sense if it makes sense on the level of that our brain is really dumb and then it just tries to make connections, and the instant it makes a connection, it holds on to it because it's survival instinct. Like our pattern recognition, to see wild animals in foliage, things like that, or to recognize certain types of leaves, or things like that, to where pattern recognition is super important. And we see that, but unfortunately, that it overextends into seeing things that aren't actually patterns, that just exist, or making patterns out of it.
Right. There's a reason that we, as humans, find faces in everything.
Yeah, literally.
Because our brains were programmed to find faces.
Yep, exactly. Because it's super important to find faces, and to recognize faces and be able to read faces. But yeah, so I thought that was all really interesting. It's something I want to learn more about, but honestly, yeah, I just want to have billions of dollars so that way I can just fund studies that I find interesting. Like the other day I was like, what? Oh man, it was such a specific thing of like, what does the average person? I tried Googling it and I couldn't find it. But I was like, what does the average person do when they like start up their computer? Some like things like that. Like what buttons do they click? Just weird things like that I really just want answers to for no apparent reason. And then I'll publish that under wacky inventions. But anyway,
it's not an invention.
Okay.
It's not an invention.
I know.
You can't publish it under wacky inventions. You have to publish it under wacky discoveries.
Wacky discoveries. Thank you, Devin.
Yes.
I don't think this coffee is caffeinated.
Mystery solved. We can end the show now.
Oh, but I think our brains are either warmed up or, in my case, dulled down enough to actually.
Well, your brain started pretty dull, Luke. How long are we gonna let there be silence?
I was thinking about it, but then I realized that I might just fall asleep. So, Devin,
Luke,
do you have your topic for today?
Sure.
Do you want to talk
Mine's
about
gonna
it?
be a pretty short one. It just
we had a really long secret thing covered, so we're good.
Cool. I'm just gonna talk about a few different thought experiments that I find entertaining that are not, because that's the whole premise of the show.
Yeah, no, we haven't done thought experiments in a long time. I tried searching for new ones, but I couldn't find new ones.
These are just some that they're not very big. That's why I have a couple of them, but they're entertaining at the very least. Have you ever heard of Hilbert's Hotel?
No.
And so this is interesting. Like so many thought experiments come up in like deep level mathematics.
Yeah.
So I have, in general, a plethora of thought experiments that I could bring up, and puzzles and all sorts of things that are just way too nerdy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because they require really high level math to be able to understand them.
So Hilbert's Hotel is a very common principle to talk about in mathematics, but I was looking over it today and I realized it might be fun. So, imagine a hotel that has an infinite number of rooms. Okay. And every one of the rooms is filled. Okay. So there's no vacancy. Okay. A gentleman comes up wanting a room. Sees that there are no vacancies, so he thinks he's going to have to leave. But the hotel manager says, wait a minute, I have an idea. And then orders every single one of the occupancies, every person, every room, to move one room up. Yeah. Because there's an infinite number of rooms. Right. The infinite person can still move one room up, right? So this frees the first. So this frees the first room, and it logically actually frees the first room. Right. And then he also gets an infinite number of complaints, but it's okay because he got a room for the guy, right? Yeah. So the guy goes in and he stays in the room, and everything's good. Okay. So this is Hilbert's Hotel was presented as a way of explaining how infinity works. Okay. All right. So that's the point, and that's why I started talking about how it's mathematical. Yeah. So that's how you can get one more room, or one more person in, or 10 more people in, or 100 more people in, or 100,000 more people in. Yeah. just by asking people to move 100,000 rooms up, right?
Yeah.
So my puzzle for you, Luke, you have the infinite hotel room that has an infinite number of people occupying every single room.
Mm-hmm.
And then a tourist bus of an infinite number of tourists comes up needing to stay.
Uh-huh.
Can you get every one of those infinite number of tourists a room in the infinite hotel?
So I do know a little bit about infinity. I
Okay.
do know that there are technically bigger infinities. You can have a bigger infinity than another infinity.
Yes.
Which I don't understand the math necessary for that, but I understand that's a thing.
Ooh, I can explain that to you.
Infinity plus 1 is bigger than
No.
infinity. Oh no.
Infinity
Okay.
plus 1 is actually equal to infinity.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, that was my
So-
only guess.
So what we're talking about right now is countably infinite, which
Okay.
is one level of infinity. The interesting thing is there's something called uncountably infinite, which I'm going to explain what that is in a moment. But that's a higher degree of infinity.
Okay.
The interesting thing is we do not know how much higher of a degree of infinity that is. We know it's
Okay.
bigger and we can prove that it's bigger. But we don't know how much bigger, which is weird. So degrees of infinity, we can prove that they're bigger than each other or smaller than each other, but we can't prove that we found all of them or anything like that. Not yet anyway. Not yet anyway.
Yeah.
So uncountably infinite is a bigger degree than countably infinite. The natural numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are countably infinite.
Yeah.
Okay. You could even say that fractions are countably infinite.
Okay.
I can have 1/4, and then 2/5, and then 3/6, and then 4/7, and 5/8, and I'm getting a bigger fraction, but I'm never going to get to
1. Yeah.
right? So that's countably infinite. The irrational numbers are not countably infinite.
Right.
So like
That's what it was.
pi,
Yeah.
like those types of numbers. Actually, there are infinitely more irrational numbers than there are fractions, for example.
Yeah.
But we don't know almost any of them.
Yeah.
We know like a small handful of irrational numbers because they're so hard for us to deal with. But
Yeah.
there are infinitely more of them than there are countable numbers. So those are degrees of infinity.
Right.
But
What
we're
about
doing
imaginary numbers? Does that not fall under there?
Actually, if you draw an axis, it goes. We have 0,
Yep.
which actually concept of 0 came after the concept of 1, by the way.
Okay.
But we have a concept of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have negative numbers, -1,
Yep.
-2, -3, -4, right? Then the next thing that we discovered were fractions.
Yep.
And then we discovered irrational numbers. And then we realized this is a number line.
Yeah.
Imaginary numbers don't exist on a number line. They exist on a number grid. The imaginary numbers go this way.
Okay.
Yeah, so then they're a grid, just like you have like x, y coordinates.
Yeah.
We have real number, imaginary number coordinates to get us a bunch of possible numbers.
How on earth would you put an imaginary number on a grid though?
The imaginary number is written something to the effect of 2 plus 3i.
Oh, okay.
And then that's the number, is 2 plus 3i, and that's an
Okay.
imaginary. And that's actually a complex number, which you did learn in high school, by the way, because you had to.
Yeah, I know I did. I just okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think so here's the thing.
But
so
none of that has anything to do with the infinite hotel, because the infinite
Right.
hotel is just dealing with countable whole numbers.
Okay. I mean, so I'm gonna approach this practically first, but I think that the practicality doesn't really matter. But I want to approach the practicality first, just in case it does. You can't have someone move into a hotel. Like you're infinitely moving people up. So you can never actually fill up. You're never going to actually fill up the hotel. Is that you'll just be constantly having a higher and higher level of infinity.
No, the hotel has no vacancies.
Right, but so like you move up, right? So let's say like the first person comes in, you move up everybody 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you do it again, and you just keep on doing it, right? You keep on doing that, keep on doing that, keep on doing that, keep on doing that. You're never gonna stop moving up people by 1.
Yeah, that would be a bad approach.
So on that level, you cannot fit the infinite bus in the hotel.
Not if you try that strategy.
If not, if you try that strategy, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really move up people an infinite number to fit in an infinite number, right?
Not if you try that strategy.
So like that doesn't work.
Right.
Just create a new hotel.
Okay.
Just start franchising.
Okay.
Infinite
So
hotels.
you tell every single one of your guests to take the number of their room, multiply it by 2, and go to the new room. It leaves the odd numbers vacant.
Oh.
And there's an infinite number of odd numbers, so there's a room for everybody.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I'm glad that I think I kept notes because I have another one that I want to talk. Oh yeah, I remember it now. I was gonna say I couldn't remember the principle because I thought I'd remember just by the title. But so that's Hilbert's hotel. That's the whole point of it. Is infinity's fun, and there's a whole bunch of problems that mathematicians play around with that principle. But that's a fun one. Okay, have you heard of Meridian's donkey?
Yes. I don't remember what the actual thought experiment is.
Okay.
But I have seen. I think I saw a TED talk that actually included the hotel thing in it. I think it might have been a different hotel. I think it was a different hotel thing. I forget.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, I have heard of the donkey. What is it?
So Meridian's donkey. This is a thought experiment that I'll just spoil it a little bit.
Right.
This thought experiment is attempting, at the very least, and I think it does a decent job of proving free will.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, go ahead.
Say it.
If you put a donkey who's equally thirsty and equally hungry between food and water, which one will it go to? It won't go anywhere. It's going to remain stuck.
Yeah.
Between
so
choices.
Actually, the original proposition was more specific than that. Rather than putting him between food and water, put him between food and food.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That way, there's things that are forcibly equivalent in the donkey's mind, right?
Yeah.
That way, if he's thinking off of logical processes and rationalizing as far as the optimal decision, there isn't one.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he's just responding to stimuli, he'll be stuck and he'll like the most likely proposition is that he would stand motionless and starve to death.
Yes.
And so then the conclusion is the donkey isn't stupid and realizes he has to make a choice and go one way, and it doesn't matter which way, which is what all humans would do. So put a human in the same position, and you've proven free will.
Yeah.
Or
a more complex instinctual thing that we don't understand.
The argument against that is it either invokes free will or it invokes chance.
Yes.
And chance can be explained as a probability created out of a very complex algorithm.
Yes.
And so it invokes one or the other, right? And but to say that it invokes chance is actually to make an argument from ignorance, which is inherently not intellectually honest. Right. So the evidence at hand supports more than any other evidence that we must have free will.
Yeah.
New evidence would obviously change that, but that's the scientific method and principle.
That's true.
Right. So that's a fun one. That's at the very least.
Would you say though that donkeys have free will then?
Yeah, I would, but not be based on a thought experiment, based on religious beliefs.
That's interesting. Maybe we'll talk about it later then.
Okay, cool.
I've never heard someone claim, other than people who love animals a little too much, that animals operate on free will. Like that, isn't that a founding principle of humans? Is that we have free will?
Sure, but there's nothing distinct that says that anything else shouldn't. And I don't think there's any evidence to argue that anything else doesn't. So I think it would be the most. It would be the most rational argument to conclude that things have free will based on observations as to how they operate. Like
maybe we're
basically
using
training an animal.
Terms of free.
When I train an animal, right? Mm-hmm. I train them with a punishment reward type system.
Yeah.
The animal learns not to do things because they have a negative impact if it does them.
Right.
Those are learned things.
Right.
Those aren't things that it innately did out of necessity. That's evidence of choice. If it's
I mean, you
choosing,
could also just
if
say it's an
choosing-
evidence of instinct, is that it avoids pain. And it knows it'll avoid pain if it does a certain
But
thing.
it doesn't just avoid pain. It avoids assumed pain, which, like, I mean, Pavlov's dogs are even an example in an interesting way. You're gonna argue, well, they salivate like subconsciously. It's not something that they intend to do. It's just a resultant, which is proper to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
But then at another extent too, the dogs learn to operate in a specific way given a perceived result.
Yeah.
That's at the very least argument of intelligence. But
Yeah, I think intelligence is far different though than I think
Yeah,
intelligence is a
absolutely.
measure of just your gray matter. Basically, I mean, essentially, of your brain is that your brain's processing power.
Maybe I'd like to dig into that more. A good
I
example.
mean, I think there's more to it, but
A good counterexample might be a slug that has doesn't have a true brain. It has a bundle of nerves, and they operate much more purely off of instinct. So a distinguishing factor in general is, can you find evidence of emotion from an animal?
that's hard to determine though. We have perceived emotion.
Right.
We can
And
perceive
I mean,
emotion, but then again, we see faces and everything. We see a sad dog, we're like, oh, the dog's sad, but like, is the dog sad or is it?
well,
like,
right.
in
You
pain,
can't do
or-
it based off of what we do. You have to do it with
Right.
scientific rigor.
True. Yes.
And even doing that, it's still a best guess, and it's based on what our brains do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's
I think,
really interesting.
I think all of the like experiential evidence that we have points towards a much stronger argument that animals have free will than that they don't.
That's really interesting. That's not something I because
And then,
Yeah.
honestly, too, I think there's at least a point where I would want to argue for this case, because if an animal doesn't have free will, then there's no value in me having one as a pet.
I mean, it's for you. Wait, why would
I mean, there isn't, because like I have this animal that I became emotionally attached to that literally has no choice in what it's doing. Why on earth would I value that?
I mean, it depends on how you use the word choice. I think. Here's a problem here, and I think.
Well, choice is inherent to free will. If you have free will, then you have choices. If you don't have free will, then you don't have choices. And those are if and only if statements. They work both ways.
No. Yes. No. I agree with that. I think you're maybe using the word of choice differently in that scenario, though. I can't think of a better word. I don't know. I think we should. I think this is a deeper topic.
I don't think I'm conflating the term.
I don't know, and that's why I'm like, I want to think about it though, because I'm not. I think this is a whole separate topic though to talk about.
I think it's much more interesting than what we were talking about.
I don't know if it is to anyone else, but I'm just like, I was
We're
not.
the only listeners, Luke.
That's true. Actually, according to analytics, we're not.
Well, they need to go away.
We don't care about research. We don't care about numbers. We care about how we feel.
Right.
Feelings over facts all the time, every time.
Yep.
Because that's what matters.
Now we need to get Ben Shapiro on.
Dude, if you can get Ben Shapiro on, I would send you a gold watch.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Crap. Oh no, he's literally finding Ben Shapiro's email right now, and he's not found it yet. He's searching. He's looking for it, and as soon as he finds it, he's gonna copy it into Gmail. Right? Hey Ben, love to have you on our podcast. My friend said he'd buy me a gold watch. If you can't, we have 2 listeners for each episode. We'd love to have you on to talk about things that don't matter. That's what Devin is going to say.
Okay, dude, I just found his email, so. Getting me a gold watch, guys. You heard it here first.
I mean, if we get him on a podcast, we just monetize that episode, and it'll probably pay for itself.
They paid for the watch?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. I mean, here's the cool thing, actually. If we can get Ben Shapiro on, we can get anybody we want on.
Well, exactly. So we
Ben
get him
Shapiro's
on.
on.
No, Devin. Okay, listen. The strategy, man. We get Ben Shapiro on. We make sure that we have very precise topics that we discuss. That way we can cut them into 60-second things and then post them all over YouTube, as well as 10-minute long things, so we can actually monetize those things with min rolls, right? Then they blow up on YouTube because we title them like Ben Shapiro destroys whatever that. We put a picture of him going like this and like someone who looks like they're a feminist going like this, or going like this, and then
that'll be you.
I beg to differ. My hair isn't dyed. And I dress
we'll get
too
it dyed
well.
for the show.
All jokes at people. All jokes. Partially, but then we use that
all
clout.
jokes based on how Luke actually feels.
We use that then to get other controversial figures on. Well, we get a figure on who hates him, and we get him on and say, hey, by the way, I heard you have a problem with that. You can voice your concerns on here. We want to support your platform, right? Then we have edits of the two that go back and forth against each other. Dude, we make millions.
We make tens
of millions
of dollars.
Dude, you not know how advertising on YouTube works?
No, I do.
Content.
You need to get
a million views.
You need to get roughly 10,000 views for $7.
A million views is worth $2,000 to $5,000.
Maybe.
It is. No, it is.
Well, I say maybe because I actually know podcasters who have millions and millions of views that they've monetized and only made a couple $100.
Well,
that's an incredibly active channel. So
on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, there must have been. I don't know. It depends on the time. If it's in January or February, no one's advertising. You make nothing off your videos. It depends on who's advertising right now. It depends on your topic, because people advertise based on your audience and your topic and what you talk about. It depends. But in general, like most YouTubers expect that. And then of course you can make nothing, especially if it's demonetized. Which honestly, anything involving Ben Shapiro probably would be. So we're already losing.
That's why we can't just base it on AdSense. We gotta be smart.
Well, we get sponsorships, duh.
Exactly.
We get a mobile ad company. I love this crappy mobile ad. They paid me $1 million to say this.
So this is the whole deal, though. Okay. As soon as you have someone like Ben Shapiro on, you can get the entire intellectual dark web on like that. And then as soon as you've got the entire intellectual dark web on, you can get anybody you want on because everybody has an opinion about them.
Yep.
This is gonna blow up,
and all of this is a plan. This is just a plan for us to get Jordan Peterson. This is literally all just so we can talk to Jordan Peterson. Yes. That's literally it. We don't even record it. We're just talking to him.
We get Ben Shapiro so we can get Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, right. Which is, you know what? He's a way harder person to get.
I'll just reach out to Jordan Peterson too.
Yeah, do it. I mean, I doubt he's doing any. I mean, this is a bad time because he's like, just gotta
hit him up. He was on his daughter's podcast.
Yeah, talking about all the things that have been going on in their lives.
He was on his daughter's podcast. You gotta think he'd be more eager to be on ours.
If you actually hit up Jordan Peterson right now, I'd probably be mad.
I'm doing it. I just found his Twitter.
You're gonna DM him?
Yeah.
Because he definitely reads those.
I mean, he seems to care a lot about young men.
He definitely reads the tens of thousands of DMs he gets.
He probably does.
He definitely has time for that.
I'll bet he does.
Yep.
Ooh,
anyway.
Then we gotta get Elon Musk on.
I mean, duh, of course. Yeah. No. I want Mark Zuckerberg. No, actually, no. I don't want Mark Zuckerberg recorded. I want to face to face with him. No cameras, just me and him.
You keep saying this like we can't do all of the above.
True, we can do all of the above.
Oh, maybe I can just get his.
Because I'm the most amazing person in the entire world. Remember?
I'm gonna get his daughter on first. He'd probably be easier. And then tell her on air I want her dad on the show.
I'm not even gonna comment.
Okay,
Devin, you want to go on to our next? Yeah,
I got one more for you.
That I don't like the way that turned. All right, let's go.
All right, I'll call you out for your personal decisions later. Then I guess.
What?
I followed your rabbit trail, and you're like, I don't like the way that turned.
Okay, fine. I blame myself. There we go. I don't like the way that I turned that. There, are you happy now, Devin? Can we continue now, Devin?
No, I liked it. So
you
that's
talk
actually
now,
the real
Devin?
reason I care. All right, I got one for you. I'm gonna start off with something you've said on a previous episode.
Oh, no. Devin, I don't have accountability for what I've said in the past.
No, it's good. It's good. You're gonna remember it. It's good. It's okay. If you're walking on the side of the road and
Oh.
you look over to your right
Yep.
and you see a child drowning, and you might feel like there's some level of which you have to save them.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least, you fully know you could save them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you just
But
bought brand new shoes.
yep. I
You
did
spent
say
$300
this.
on these shoes.
Yeah, no. Nice shoes. I don't want to waste those shoes. I need them
Do you believe
for gala.
that you have an obligation, a moral obligation, to save this child even if it ruins your shoes?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Wait, no. Wait, what's the no? I'm joking. $300, please. That's peasant change. As someone who, is that the whole? Is that
That's my question right now.
What did we say on the last podcast? I don't
know.
remember.
I'm asking you right now.
No, you know what we did say? And something I'm going to bring up that I actually was talking about to someone the other day. We started talking about the value of a human life and how if you look over how much money someone makes throughout their life, then you can accurately say that was their value throughout their life monetarily. That's what you said.
Okay. Do you have an obligation, a moral obligation, to save this child even if it would ruin your $300 pair of shoes?
Ooh, that word obligation.
Moral
Those-
obligation.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a moral obligation. I would say I have a very high moral incentive. I don't know if like
Okay, so change the word.
I don't yeah.
Would it be your moral duty to save the child?
Yeah, I would say it'd be immoral to not save
Okay.
the child.
So, $300 shoes. Is there a price point where that decision changes for you?
It depends on, and that's the hard thing is thinking about it logically. Of course I can say no. In the moment,
Okay.
do I care
So-
or not?
So you say there's no real price point where that would change. This
no.
child's right in front of you. You have the ability to save their life.
Yep.
You think that it's a moral duty. It's immoral not to save them,
Right.
even if there's a large expense associated with that.
Right.
Does your moral duty change by proximity? Meaning, if you have the ability to save a child on the other side of the world,
Yep. Yep.
but there would be some cost to doing so, is it still a moral duty? Is it still immoral not to help them? And if not, why not?
Devin, I hate you so much. I knew immediately. I was like, oh no. Here's the thing.
Here's the thing.
I would say no, I don't say I have a moral duty. Because I would say if I have food and I'm somewhere and someone's starving, I would say yeah, I would have a moral duty to share that, especially since if I had plenty, then it would be immoral for me not to share that. The problem that you get with that when you include distance is that all of a sudden your circle of obligation is exponentially bigger to the point of where no one person could possibly actually solve the problem. So if you say, let's say someone, a kid on the other side of the world who's starving, and if he had money, he'd be able to buy food. And the only thing keeping that child alive would be a donation. If there was one child like that, then yeah, it would be a moral obligation of everyone to make it so that child doesn't starve. The problem is that there's such a huge number at a certain point. I think I use this when I talk about charity and talk about causes, and especially when I talk about politics and why I don't care about politics, is because my time and energy and my money, and when I say money, I mean my giving up my opportunities to make money, is spent and has been spent for the last 8 years in helping mentally ill children. I could get a job instead and then donate a portion of that job to helping people eat. Which one is morally better? I have no idea. And I think that's the problem when you include distance. All of a sudden, we could include distance and knowledge, include, I would say, distance. Sorry, I'm flipping it around. When you include proximity and a truth, like a knowledge of the truth, then all of a sudden it becomes a duty. I would say, I guess obligation would be even the correct word. I'm in a situation, a child is drowning. I can clearly see that they are drowning. I have the immediate ability to stop it, and I can see that I can stop it. Yes, if I did not do it, that would be immoral. But if someone is walking by me and they're planning on killing somebody, I have proximity, but I don't have knowledge of truth, so I have no obligation. But if I talk to somebody and they said, yeah, I plan on killing this person, I then have proximity and knowledge of truth, so therefore I have an obligation to stop that. There are thousands of people planning on killing someone right now. I have no proximity, I have no knowledge of the truth, so I have no obligation to stop them. I would say that's kind of my thing. And I say proximity, I think, would diminish when it comes to internet things. I think interaction, maybe is a better way of saying it. I'm interacting with somebody and I have knowledge of the truth. Or at least what the best I can tell is knowledge of the truth. So like if someone online is saying something about doing something either illegal or immoral, because those are two different things, that overlap, then I would say then I have an obligation, and I've done that. I've reported people on social medias. Not like it does anything because they don't care. Yeah, I think that's the way I see it. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying that's the way I rationalize it to myself.
I have a question for you.
All right.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna fight back.
Right, do it.
Would you rather me fight back against your case or fight to how your case still gives you an obligation?
I don't know the difference. I don't know how you're gonna. I don't know like the specificity for each one.
Okay.
So.
Would you rather me to use your argument or to show how your argument's invalid?
Oh well, you want to take my argument and then use it to show how twisted it is. Okay.
So you said first the statement of it seemed like your first critique was just the numbers of people and how you couldn't possibly help everybody.
Right.
Sheer numbers, 7 billion people in the world, 1 billion are starving. So 6 billion have at least enough to get by. We could presume if it is a bell-shaped curve, 1 billion people have excess.
Right.
So 1 billion people can help 1 billion people, then nobody goes hungry.
Yeah.
So there actually isn't a number issue.
In the modern world, I think that's an understatement.
Right.
1 billion people have excess.
So I think that the numbers itself is a non-issue. You could be responsible for one child, and that child could just happen to be anywhere, and then it'd be sufficient.
That is very true.
But then the proximity and knowledge of truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Knowledge of truth, sure, we can hold that. I'm going to argue that proximity is non sequitur. With just the effect that we have with technology right now, I know for a fact, because I've done it, I can get money anywhere in the world in less than 24 hours.
Okay.
And if money solves the problem, because now they have food, or now they have money they can buy food, you can get that money to them in the same day. So the only real question is knowledge of truth. And yes, you do know children are starving. You know geographically where they are, and you know which organizations you could reach out to that help. Those are things that you know.
True.
Right? So proximity is a non sequitur, and knowledge is something you have.
I think the reason why I use proximity, though, is because of the rate of responsibility. Is that if it's a field of view, then that's a certain proximity of where I can see something and I can take action on it. It's very unlikely that I'm going to be constantly saving people's lives. Right? Because
like I said, be responsible for one child.
Right, exactly. And well, that brings up who?
1 billion people going without, 1 billion people with access. Each of the 1 billion people picks 1 billion people at random.
Yeah, in a perfect world. Yeah.
I mean, do your part.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
that's the entire argument.
Well,
of the
I mean,
thought
that's
experiment,
true, but then
is on
that
an
brings up
individual
the
level, you do your part.
that brings up the question, though. I think that brings up my other point, though, of what if I put my money towards something else? Like, what if I take that money that go to someone who's starving and put it to someone who, I don't know, something else that's equally life threatening.
Okay.
Right?
My arguments would generally be, what are they? I can't remember if they're 4 or 5, so I'm gonna name them out. But like the fundamental necessities for life. You have there's 4. You have food, water, shelter, and basic healthcare.
Yeah.
So if you are choosing to help somebody who has those 4 things over somebody who doesn't have those 4 things, I think you're being morally disingenuous. It might be the right way to say it. You're choosing to help somebody who needs less help. You're choosing to help somebody who's going to survive the night over somebody who won't.
I see that. I would say on my previous point also that basic healthcare includes mental health. So I would say I'm still covered.
Okay.
So I'm being moral. Everyone else isn't. But yeah, no. I mean, I understand.
So basic health necessities. If people have mental disorders, the people that you help particularly, if going untreated for a very short period of time, it leads to their death.
Yes.
Then that's what's covered by basic healthcare.
Right.
So if that's a true statement with their mental disabilities, then I agree with you.
Right.
And if it's not,
which
then
is harder to gauge rather than physical health, but typically yes, that is true.
Then fair, valid.
Right.
My personal opinion.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't think I'm morally superior to anybody. For
yes,
it.
you do.
No, I mean on a logical level, I do not believe I'm morally superior to anybody. It is. I think about this. I do think about this a lot though. And I think it just comes.
Real quick though, for the listeners, I have not even tried to state my opinion on this thought experiment. I'm just playing devil's advocate to any opinion that Luke gives me.
That's true. He has not.
Just to be clear. Like, so if it seems like I'm against Luke, I'm trying to be against Luke.
Yeah. No. He's
no.
Don't listen to him. He's actually believes all the stuff he's saying. But
I might. I'm not saying I don't. But that's not my point.
All right. Do you want to show how my argument is invalid then?
Here, Will.
Oh, I don't remember anymore.
Okay.
Um,
I think there's a certain limit, and that's what I was. It's true. I mean, at a certain point, you're just making excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the excuse boils down to I haven't been emotionally impacted enough to care.
Well,
and that comes to I think that responsibility. That's what I wanted to talk about. That's what I was going to mention. Is it my responsibility? No. If I have, and that's where it comes into, and I don't, whether it's and that's why I think the difference between someone who's in immediate danger next to you, someone who's in the path of a car and you pull them out of the way, or someone who's drowning and you save them, right? That's something that you don't think about. Like, that is not a thought process that goes on in your mind, unless the thought is, how is it possible for me to save them? Like, that's what goes on in your mind. If someone's dangling over a cliff, you're like, can I get down there and save them? Or will they pull me down? Like, that's the only thought process going on in your mind, not weighing the pros and cons of being like, I'll spend my time somewhere else helping someone else. Like, that doesn't, in a normal person's mind, that does not, or a healthy person's mind, I should say, that does not even enter the picture. Whereas when there's distance between you, there's an emotional disconnect. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden it becomes more logical and becomes way less emotional. Mm-hmm. Which is why ads for charities are all emotional. Well, because logically, you should donate.
Well, but emotionally, you even look at how those ads operate. And the general motif is one person is a tragedy and 1,000 is a statistic.
Yeah. So
when I tell you that there's tens of thousands of people starving in this one region, you feel no emotional attachment. You don't care. When I show you one young child.
Yeah, then you care.
Mm-hmm. One person is a tragedy.
Yep, which is why
having people is a statistic.
Yep, having a climate avatar is so important.
Ooh, getting into business.
Yep, but yeah, it is an interesting question. I think the real answer is that we just we block that off because
the real question is, why is there a moral obligation or moral duty to save someone who's close to you, and not a moral obligation to save someone who's further away from you. And I think logically the answer is there either isn't a moral obligation to save both, or there is a moral obligation to save both. And the distance allows you to know yourself to your obligations.
I would lean towards the second. I know. Well, okay. I have two thoughts about each one. I have a thought about each one. The first one is that you don't have an obligation. I would say no. I wouldn't say you. I think I might backtrack on my previous statement, and I might say no. You don't have a moral obligation to it. No. Wait. Okay. Wait. No. Wait. Nope. Let me think about that. I think it's more than that. I think it more goes down to survival instinct of just, yes, when you can do something you should, but when it's too much, your brain just turns it off and says, nope, it's too much. Like it's like when trauma victims, especially younger trauma victims, they oftentimes have entire gaps of memory where their brain says, nope, too painful, I'm going to turn off your memory. And we're just never going. We'll have no idea what happened because it was too much for your brain. And I really see that that's kind of where that's I think what's going on inside our minds when we see somebody in front of us that we can save versus when we see a billion people, right?
That's interesting. You're kind of equating apathy with like repressed memories right now.
I don't know if it's apathy. I think apathy is a source for people to rational. I think apathy is a byproduct of this, and a way that we comfort ourselves. And then here's what I think what you mean is that, or how I'm interpreting it, is that we kind of not even numb ourselves. We separate ourselves from pains of the world. And then because of that, because we're separated, we feel apathetic about those pains. We don't really feel like doing anything about it because we're not connected in any way to it. Is that kind of what you mean a little bit more?
Yeah. I can take that.
Yeah. Because I definitely see that being a reality. I mean, it's a tough subject because it makes you actually think about, oh, what's everything going on wrong in the world? There's lists. Like I've seen this, like the lists of the what are they called? Like basically, it's not crimes against humanity, but it's like something similar to that. Like where it's like the terror, like all of the worst things that are happening to humans right now. What are the numbers of that? I forget what the website's called. Memory loss. Wonder why I don't remember. It was also a while ago I saw this. But it basically had the numbers like this many people are starving. These many people are in a terrible domestic relationship or domestically abusive relationship. This many people, whatever, like this many people are getting killed in wars right now. This many people are victims of violent offense, like whatever. Like there's so much of it. It's like it comes to a point where like, what do you choose? And typically we choose what we've personally experienced.
Or, I think even more common, I like this, I'm going to add to your point, even more common, the paradox of choice beats us and we don't make a decision at all.
True.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a very, very valid explanation, actually. It's not that we don't have a moral obligation, it's that the list of moral obligations that we have is so overwhelming that the paradox of choice beats us into, like, lack of action.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it is. I mean, it is. It's what do we do? The three methods when faced with a danger: fight, flee, or freeze.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, we freeze.
If it's not a danger that equates to us, then
right.
It's much easier to freeze.
Yep.
Because I get to live about my life exactly as I have.
Yeah.
And that's another one. It's another psychological principle. When we're given a choice and we don't fully understand the options, we choose the one that seems like it doesn't change anything.
Yep.
The
evil we know versus the evil we don't.
Right. And even if we know that how things are is wrong, if we don't fully understand the resultant of the choices we make, We would rather take what we know.
Yep.
All right, and that's interesting.
Oh, I think that's the other thing too, is that we can continue living our lives and we'll never be not never be affected, but most likely we'll never be affected by all of those terrible things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hopefully, we have what dare I say, the privilege of being where we are and living the lives that we have. And so yeah, I hate that word so much.
All right, Luke. Do you think we've overthought this one?
I think we have, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's
move on to yours. What do you got?
Do we
want
to move on to mine? It's been an hour and a half. I'm kind of tired.
It's been an hour and 11 minutes.
Really? Okay, I'll go on my rant then.
Yeah. I love that. Luke, I'll go on my rant.
For too long, we have been victims. For too long, we have suffered in terribleness. But now I, Luke D. Maxwell, have come to free us from the prisons that entangle us.
Yeah.
Who's ready to fight back against the greedy, the powerful, the ones who don't care about us, who only want to take the one thing that is truly ours?
We'll show them.
Yeah, our creativity, our freedom, and most importantly, our hard-earned money. Those evil corporations. These are my problems with them. Squarespace is the devil.
I totally thought you were going to talk about Apple.
We're not done yet. Squarespace. What Squarespace is, if you actually look at the company and you look at the way they market and you actually analyze their product and you actually know enough about web design to understand their product, you realize that they're a company that is built on only an idea and a vision and not actually anything substantial. Squarespace is built on the idea of creatively expressing yourself and and broadcasting yourself to the world. That's what its marketing is. And then what? You can make some money off of it by having a cart built in. That's not so nice. The market primarily on podcasts and YouTube, and primarily on channels that have a creative audience. They're typically younger, typically not too much of the teenagers because they want the young adults. They target people who speak to those who have less, I would say, than the average person in their area. So we're talking about people who are struggling, people who are probably living paycheck to paycheck, and people who are creative and want to be creative. And then they sell them the lie. And they sell them the lie of something that they say is going to solve all your problems. You're going to have a website. Number one, a website means nothing. Absolutely nothing without everything attached to it. Devin has long forsaken. No, we're not. I'm not. Devin has long said that a website is useless.
I don't have one.
He uses funnels instead.
Mm-hmm.
I like websites. I like building websites. But I do it with intention. They're fun to build. They're fun to show off.
I mean, I don't think I'd say that a funnel is useless. There's a strategy behind your marketing.
Website.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think I'd say that a website is useless. There's a strategy behind your marketing that makes a website valuable.
I'm embellishing.
And most people...
I am being dramatic.
I'm not gonna let it go on record with me saying that they're useless.
I'm using strong words and I'm putting strong words in Devin's mouth. But a website alone does nothing for you. No one will ever see it. No one will ever find it. You can talk to people about it. They'll visit it once.
Build it and they won't come.
Build it and they will not come. Thank you, Devin.
Mm-hmm. I stand behind that.
But Squarespace doesn't teach you how to build a website. So if you want a website, so you build it. Let's say you build your website with Squarespace. And of course, they give you a preordained template.
Because that's creative.
So creative, right? If you want to change anything, it immediately becomes a 10 times worse website because of the way they build it out. You cannot do what you want with it unless you pay more and you know coding. And then you're stuck there because you have no knowledge of web design and you think you have a website and you're stuck. So if you want to do something more creative, you have the intellectual and emotional burden of learning actual web design. And then they keep charging you month after month, and you're stuck there. You don't want to lose your website because it's your creative endeavor. It's your thing that's going to set you free. But at the same time, you cannot get away from them because you don't know anything about actually building a website. Isn't that sad, Devin? What if I told you there's a company more evil than that? A company that not only keeps you trapped in its loops and its hooks, but then invents more hooks to trap you in, further digging you deep. You know what I'm talking about. I can talk about companies, right? I don't think I'm gonna get sued. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying I hate them.
I mean, I don't know, because like slander can get you sued. If your slander has any notable, like arguable, like impact on their bottom line, then you can get you sued.
I'm just speaking the truth.
I've made my point.
There is a software company that may or may not have a fruit or a vegetable as their logo and their name. This company. Now I just realized I said Squarespace, so now I'm gonna either bleep that out or just be ready to get sued.
Get that liability insurance ASAP.
Which I do not have. So please don't sue me. I don't matter.
I'm a nobody. Only 2 people listen to this, and I'm one of them.
This company, their entire business model was supposed to be built for invention and newness. And so by investing into the company with your money and buying their products, you were guaranteed in the future new and improved items that were revolutionary of the time. You were guaranteed to be on the forefront of technology. And maybe another industry. We're not specifying what kind of industry it is. That was the guarantee. That was the promise.
Okay, so where's the stuff for not to drop?
And now, all of a sudden, what do it stand for now? Making you compliant upon them, and not only making interfaces, because I guess we're going with this is a tech company, that make you unable to use other products, and keeping their interfaces exclusive so you can never buy a product other than theirs. But by the fact that you cannot get your product fixed, they introduce a second sales point throughout the life of the product to where you have to visit their physical stores and get it fixed, therefore setting yourself up for another sale. It's a brilliant model. It's an absolute brilliant sales model. By having multiple sales points over the life of one product, and multiple sales points that are needed. There's no way to actually get around them without going through a sketchy third party. And even then, I don't own any products, so I actually wouldn't know if that's possible or not.
It's not supposed to be.
It's not supposed to be. It's illegal. I don't know. I'm making
Against terms of service.
Against terms of service, exactly. And so they trap you in their vicious cycle. And then they introduce mediocrity after mediocrity, and you can never leave. Because then it becomes a social standpoint. Oh, you don't have the newest model? Oh no, what are you? You might as well just switch to the competing software that we all know what it is.
You don't have the XXXIIW? What's wrong with you?
Exactly. Oh wow, it's so old. So the newer model, like, it's so much better. Why? It's not. It may have something gimmicky. It may have
It has 6 camera lenses on it.
Exactly. Devin, you're getting a little too close to what it actually is. We don't want people to actually know what we're talking about, because we're just talking about a faceless organization, one of the largest companies in the entire world. Talking about a faceless organization here. What I really hate is the trap that these two companies put you in. The reliance you have on their products. The way you cannot get out of it without a serious learning curve. And that itself is a detriment. I might as well just spend another $1,000 to upgrade, because otherwise I'd have to learn how to use something else.
I think it's beautiful.
From a business standpoint, yeah, I'd love to own that business, because it's profitable as everything. But anyway, That's my rant. I think I'm done.
Cool. That was only like 5 or 6 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
I wanted to go on more, but then at a certain point, I just get tired of my own embellishments and dramaticism, and then I get tired of myself. Then I'm like,
I asked Luke beforehand, hey, how long's your topic day? And he's like, maybe 30 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'll stretch mine out a little bit.
Well, I mean, you didn't say anything either, except to criticize me.
You were talking like a presenter. I was supposed to just be part of the crowd.
Yeah, I know.
I can't
It's my
interrupt
own
that
fault.
frame.
It's my own fault. The funny thing is, too, is that I use Google owns me. And I don't care. So, like, I find it so funny that, like, I'm complaining about all those things. And I'm literally giving my soul to Google, and I could not care less.
It's funny, too, because, like, you talked about it already, funnel builders. The first big funnel builder that kind of broke out in their marketing and blew up about 4, almost 5 years ago now. When they first came, because I've been using them. I didn't even know when I started that I was using them basically since they were new. I guess it's been about 4 years. It's not as close to 5 as I thought. I have talked so highly of them for the same exact model because it's absolutely brilliant. That as soon as you're using their software, as soon as you've converted to using their funnel builder, especially back when they started, that there weren't very many competitors.
Right.
As soon as you're using their funnel builder, one of two things happens. It's either you're either not successful in using it because you really aren't a true business that has anything established, so you stop using it, but recognize it's your fault, not theirs. Yeah. Because that's true. Or their software starts making you money and your entire business becomes fully dependent on it. Yep. So you can never quit.
Same thing like Instagram influencers. Mm-hmm. Well, TikTok's getting banned. It might have been banned today. I'm not sure.
But it's just it's such a beautiful model that it's it's funny because as a software company, it means initially they have a massive amount of churn, but after the initial churn, they have like lifetime values that are through the roof. Yeah. And so I've talked about them so highly as far as how profitable their company actually is, and it's doing all the same things you just complained about.
Yeah, and we're trying to move away from them, and it's so like we spent weeks like moving our platform.
We haven't even touched it to be.
We barely have. Yeah. We've tried, and it's become such a huge pain in the neck that we're just kind of doing other things instead.
There's bigger needle movers that we're focusing on, but it would probably take at least 10, but probably closer to 20 to 30
I think the big difference
to transfer it all.
Yeah, I think the big difference though is that the two companies I mentioned, I think their product offering is complete garbage. Overpriced garbage, I would say. And I think that's a big difference, because I don't think the current one we're using is...
I guess actually to that point even, the funnel builder that we're currently using, compared to the current market, is now overpriced. They've been undercut by so many different softwares that are just as good. Yeah. So they were cheap when they started, but they're not anymore because they're still holding the same price point. Yeah. There's competitors that are just as good and cheaper. Part of that is because of their marketing strategy, because they give away up to 40% or 42% of their monthly purchase power.
Oh, really?
Which, like to affiliates and things like that.
Okay.
So they give away, and that is, so they're giving away a higher margin than the profit margins of most SaaS companies.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's like they can't actually afford to be better priced. They can't afford, and I'm not saying they should, because you don't want to compete for price. That's a bad game.
Right, exactly.
But if they wanted to, they couldn't.
Because they'll lose.
Well, I mean, when a market starts competing for price, every single shareholder in the market loses.
Yep. Well, and then everyone stops and everyone leaves, and the stock market for that industry crashes.
Which is why the caveat I've always made is, if you're going to start a business today, you want to do everything in your power to become Rolex, not Timex. Yeah. Right. Because you can choose. There's no such thing as a middle price company. There's no such thing as a middle price company. You're either luxury, high end, premium, or you're the cheapest solution. Mm-hmm. And when you're competing for the cheapest solution, you are competing to put yourself out of business. Yep. When you're competing for luxury or premium, you're competing to be an icon. Yeah. And you're competing to a position where people don't care about the price.
Exactly.
I would much rather be there. I
Oh,
would
yeah.
I would much rather have a few critics who said I was overpriced than
Yeah.
be cheap.
I mean, and especially, I mean, look at a swag culture. What's it called? Like, I'm so unhip. I'm so not hip. Supreme, that's what it was.
You're the hip one between us, though.
Stuff like Supreme or like Bellafani's or whatever they're called. I don't care. Essentially, they're T-shirts with a logo on it, and they're selling for thousands of dollars. You know, they're like the brick. They produce a brick with their logo on it, and it's sold on eBay for like $6,000. It's just literally just because it has a logo on it, which is always funny to me because I'm like, it's so easy just to make a fake one. Like you could make a fake one of those shirts, and no one would ever be able to tell. Not a single person.
That's clear. That's actually I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but even by you saying that, it's very, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Their marketing is not premium marketing; it is luxury marketing.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So
we were talking about this earlier off camera.
So this is the distinction. Because I'm a marketer, that's what I do. And I've never marketed either a premium or a luxury product, but I want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do premium. I want to do luxury.
Yeah.
And
we should make ties, or we should make rings with our faces on them, and then we give them to our. No, wait, no. Darn, I got around. I was saying we make rings with our faces on them. We wear them, and we make all of our students kiss our rings.
Then we are their Sifu, because there's someone who does that in the fake guru space.
Yep.
I won't say who.
No, of course
but not. No, not him. You don't bring him up.
Nope.
But
I don't even know who you're talking about. You didn't say his name, or their name, his or her name.
Yeah. Or there, as in there's more than one of them.
Yep. Yep. True.
But
their name.
And in any case, I actually have things in the work to have a luxury brand, hopefully in the near future, which is exciting. But premium is higher quality. Mm-hmm. That's the marketing angle of a premium product. So like premium water brands are better water, right? That's their whole point.
Yeah.
And any brand that talks about how they are superior because of what they're made out of or what they do for you, that's a premium product.
Okay.
And I mean, actually, it has to both say that it's superior and charge more.
Yeah.
To be technically premium, right? Versus luxury.
Yeah.
Luxury doesn't make any claims to superiority. Luxury's marketing tends to be lifestyle.
Yeah.
It tends to show a better life. It tends to angle as if this is what rich people buy.
Right.
And it doesn't, like, the interesting thing about the luxury angle, the reason I want a luxury brand, is because they don't have any expectations on them.
Yeah.
Like, people buy them because they are the luxury option. They don't buy them expecting anything out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be just as good as everything else and charge 4 times as much and get away with it.
Yep.
And I want that.
The easiest way to do that is you target middle class housewives with something you showcase. You say you hire a celebrity to showcase this one thing, and no one actually does it, but it make it look, you set it up to make it look like rich people use this thing, and then immediately they're all competing to look that way.
Well, literally, the marketing for luxury products, you can look at, it doesn't matter on industry at all. The marketing for luxury products is always identical in that their videos show lifestyle.
Yep.
They don't make claims to lifestyle. They just show lifestyle.
Yep.
And then they barely even mention their product at all.
Yeah.
And so they allow you to make the association that the people with this lifestyle have this product.
Right.
And they don't even have proof claims. They don't have that necessity in them. It's the easiest marketing in the world.
Yeah. They can
once
do it.
it's rolling.
Like there was I think it was a Ferrari ad. It was one of my favorite ads ever, and it showed somebody like wood carving a Ferrari, basically a Ferrari frame, and then it transitioned from like that, like the gentle like massaging of the Ferrari frame into something to actually like to making the car, right? It can do that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it does. And I would say, I don't know, would Ferrari be a premium or a luxury? I think it might be a premium.
I don't know. I haven't paid enough attention to their marketing.
Interesting.
Because it has nothing to do with the product. It has everything to do with the marketing.
Right.
When you have a good enough product, it is your choice. Do you want to be premium or luxury?
Yeah. But usually those brands really don't do a lot of marketing. They don't need to.
Well, they do, but their marketing isn't done with like TV ads because the people they want to buy are watching.
Or just TV, yeah. True.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, interesting. But anyway, Devin, have we overthought this? I'm tired.
You overthought it.
But you haven't. You have more to say.
Oh, of course.
I know you do. Let's save it for another episode, though, because my clock is showing an hour and 45. I don't know what yours is saying.
1:30.
Okay. I think I started my nap before yours then.
You
Oh, yeah,
would
for
have
the
to.
previous...
That's how that works. That's how time works, Luke.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Devin, you want to send people to your new podcast?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to do plugs. All right, so, guys, we got so much going on right now. Okay, first off, Luke and I actually have a business we work together. Client Vending Machine is kind of the front-facing name of it. If you reach out to either of us, you can learn so much about marketing and how to get online and how to build an online fan base. We help businesses build fan bases. If you know anyone who thinks that's interesting, they should reach out to us because it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
Outside of that, I started a new podcast last week. Like after we recorded the last episode of this, I started a new podcast.
You did?
It already has 5 episodes out, and
Yeah.
it already has 44 downloads, which is absolutely crushing the stats that I've had for my previous podcasts. And
It's almost beating this one. No, actually it isn't.
it might for the first 5.
Oh, for the first 5, it definitely. No. Yeah, no, you're true. Yep.
Yep. So it's called Fun Facts with Devin. The podcast is a couple minutes long. The longest episodes are just over 7 minutes so far. And it's meant to be that way. It's literally what the title says, that I'm randomly sharing fun facts as inspiration strikes. So there's no content schedule. There's no consistency in when it's... There's no consistency in when it's posting. The descriptions are usually 1 sentence each because how much do I really have to say about a 30-second episode?
Yeah, nothing.
And actually, we'll be having guests on pretty soon, which is fun.
Yeah.
But it's fun and wacky and random, and I think anybody who actually has listened to an hour and 32 minutes of this podcast would probably appreciate that one even more.
Yeah, because it's only
but condensed.
It's the same but condensed.
And Luke's not there, which makes it
I'm not. No. It's the same but condensed because Luke's not there.
Right. So you guys can check that out on any major podcatcher. It's on all of them. So
it's on everything.
Check it out anywhere. Just look up Fun Facts with Devin.
Sounds like fun, Devin.
Yeah, man, it is. I'm having a lot of fun.
I know you are.
Yeah, that's how I make decisions.
I don't
my
know.
business decisions are first and foremost, would it be fun? Second, would it be valuable?
Yeah.
If it's not valuable, is it fun enough?
Yep.
I should make a flow chart. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Actually.
We'll make a decision-making matrix. It'll be cool.
Yeah. That was funny pictures at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun. Your
Maybe
facial
like-
expressions at the end of each one. I don't know, dude. Subscribe. Rate us 5 stars. That's my call to action. I don't care.
Ooh, that's actually super important. Yeah,
It is super
If you want more people to get to know us,
It's the most important thing you could possibly do to a podcast, except pay us money. That's the only
Subscribe.
other thing you could do.
Subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. Actually, write a review, and we'll get a Patreon set up so you can fund us.
I mean, technically, we have a
and-
way to fund us, but they don't get anything extra out of it yet.
I don't need anything extra. I need money. So go ahead and fund us.
No, we'd have to give something extra.
No. They don't need it. They just need to have fun.
No,
with
you
us.
don't. You have an hour and a half of us rambling like idiots. You don't need... Actually, no. Me rambling like idiots. Multiple. That was on purpose. Devin ranting like a semi-intellectual. One of them. Yes, that again was on purpose. Oh, dude. Wait.
For those of you who aren't lucky enough to be watching this on YouTube, Luke has disappeared, and it's as of 5 minutes ago disappeared.
You can see my eyes. I just sank in desperation.
Actually, I can't see your eyes. I
can't
can
see-
see your eyebrows. I can see your forehead.
How do we wait, Devin, wait, it's been so long since I've recorded one of these episodes. How do we end these again?
We don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bum. Bum, bum, bum.
No, that's an ending. That's an outro. Don't do it.
I have become what I most despised.
Luke Maxwell.